Hi, this is Dan Marantz. I'm a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Homeservices, New England property here in Westerly, and I'm also the creator of Westerly Waves, a video podcast where we meet the people who make Westerly a better place. Today I'm sitting with Mr. Beach, the head of the Misquamicut Beach Association, Caswell Cooke. Caswell, thanks for coming.
Good to see you.
Thanks, Caswell.
Thanks for coming to the office.
Oh, it was a pleasure driving here. I got to drive past the beach on my way.
That's true. Everyone likes to come to visit Misquamicut.
Yes, they do. It's the main reason why I'm in Westerly. You know, people ask me, why did I move to Westerly? You have a beach. That's it. It's all about the waves and all of that. So, Caswell, yourself, how did you get here to Westerly?
I've always been here, you know, part of the furniture. My family's been here for a long time. My mom went to high school here. My dad went to most of his school here. I think he ended up somewhere else after, but on my dad's side, my family, I think, came to Watch Hill area in like the 1860s, so we go way back. And my mom's side traces it back to Stephen Hopkins, which goes even further back. So we're kind of Rhode Island-y,
Yeah.
and we definitely got a lot of Westerly. But as I was saying before we recorded this, I was actually born in New York City because my parents moved there for work back in the 70s. And then after a few years, I think my mom didn't want me to be playing on a playground on a fenced-in roof. So she said, let's go back home. So I went to all my school here in Westerly.
Great. How did you get involved with the Misquamicut Business Association?
Well, when I was a kid, my grandmother used to say, don't ever go to that Misquamicut place. No, there's no lie. And I don't think I did when I was a kid. My dad worked, I think, at the Neptune back in the day. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that. But no, so it was kind of like had a reputation, you know. But then in 1993, my business partner, Bob Barber, started Seafood Haven down by the Weekapaug Bridge, and I worked for him that first few years. And then I became his business partner in the 90s, and this is actually our 25th anniversary season this year. So that got me started in Misquamicut. And then I used to DJ at the Andrea.
Okay.
And I remember there was a lot of stuff going on with like the Atlantis, and it was kind of going downhill. It was a club down at the beach, and there was a lot of issues at the beach. And I remember I said to Lenny Colucci, who's dead now, who owned the Andrea, I said, well, you should be happy these bars are getting shut down, and you know, you'll be the only game left in town. He's like, no, he goes, you need everyone together and everyone rowing in the same direction to make this beach work. And we didn't have any sort of community in Misquamicut. The place looked like crap. Nobody was doing anything for cleanliness. There was trash everywhere. So it all kind of came together around the year 2000. A few things happened. Number one, we revived the MBA, which had gone out of business in like 93.
Okay.
And so we had a budget of, I think that first year, I called a meeting, and everybody came to the Andrea for breakfast, and they elected me president. There was no pay involved back then, but I did get a free breakfast. And everybody said, let's be on the same page. So I think our first year, we had about a $5,000 budget, and I think by the second year, we were able to afford a fireworks display. So fast forward 17 years, and we have about a $400,000 budget, and we do these huge festivals, Springfest, Fallfest, classic car shows, magic shows, fireworks displays. We run a tourist information center, just all sorts of cool stuff. And one of the coolest things we do is we have a road crew. So we have guys out there driving around on the golf cart, sweeping sidewalks, picking up trash. But everything came together in 2000 because a few things happened. Number one, we started the MBA to get everybody on the same page. Number two, the town of Westerly purchased the Atlantis and the old bars that were kind of crumbling and falling down, and kind of paved paradise and put up a parking lot, like no pun intended.
Is that where the town beach is?
We're Whiskey now.
Whiskey.
Yeah,
Okay.
the town beach has always been there, but the new town beach, or Whiskey now, which you can ask me how that got its name later, and the Tourist Information Center, that all kind of started. And then Nick Castagna started Blues on the Beach. Barbara Stillman in the Chamber of Commerce started the children's movies on the beach, and this was all around 2000. So that kind of started, and then as the years have gone forward, I started the Misquamicut Music Festival, and we brought people like Davy Jones to the beach, and Jefferson Starship, Eric Burden and the Animals. We kind of changed what Misquamicut was. And so it's a long time later, but we've got a great situation, you know, at the beach where things look good and it's family We publish a magazine, we publish a map, we run a tourist center down there. So I think we've come a long way in those years, and definitely Misquamicut is a family beach. So if you partied here in the 80s, you can bring your kids now.
That's great.
Or your grandkids. It depends how old they are.
I didn't party here in the 80s. I partied in New Jersey at Seaside, which was very similar,
Right.
I think. And when we got here in 2006, Misquamicut was already starting to, it seemed like a nice beach. It was a nice, clean place to go. What I was shocked about for me is how many more things there are to do down there during the summer. There's also, you didn't mention it, but is the drive-in movie theater.
Yeah, we started that. It was an idea that my friend John Gonzalez, we call him Gonzo, it's an idea that the two of us had back in 2009, I want to say, and it was, we were driving somewhere, I forgot where it was, and he said we should have a film festival in Misquamicut. And then we started saying, well, maybe we should do it at the Windjammer. It'd be like a one-weekend thing. And then I said, you know, I used to live next to the Westerly Drive-In Theater out on Route 1 when I was a kid. I lived there. I remember it shut in 1987. And I was a kid, but I saw movies there. And I said, maybe a drive-in. So then we started talking to George Tattersall, who's now famous not for being George Tattersall, but because his wife owns Junk and Java in Westerly. So that's how he's known now. He's the husband of. But anyway, George said, well, we'll get these 2 cargo containers, you know, like sea-land containers, because we need the storage space for our festivals anyway, and a place to put our brooms and golf carts and everything. And we'll stack them, weld them, and I'll build a screen on the front. And then we called up Chris from WBLQ, and he told us what kind of radio transmitter, those little low voltage things. And then I kind of rigged it out of the back of my Jeep with a projector, and boom, the Misquamicut Drive-In was born. And the first year we did, I think, 8 movies, and it was okay. And then we decided to add spring, fall. Now we do 32 movies. Wow. 32 movies.
I think the very first movie you played was one of my all-time favorites, was Jaws. I thought it was the perfect movie to be at the beach for.
And now we do it like 4 times a season, and now we do Thursdays and Fridays in the height of the season. It's really great. It's cheap.
It's $10.
$12. We had to go up, inflation, okay. But $12 a car. The popcorn's like $3. You know, get a soda for $1. There's a great Groupon deal, so if you wanted to check out Groupon, it's even cheaper. But it's just so cool because we fill it. And so this year, something happened. I mean, with our social media presence, whatever it is, the first night there was about 1,000 cars came down, and we can only fit 100 in our lot. And the guy who's got the lot over next, maybe 150. And we just had it was crazy. So I had to like pull back on the social media advertising, but it's a good problem to have.
Yes.
On a off night in May to have all those cars.
And hopefully some of them stuck around, went to one of the restaurants or to the bars, or walked on the beach and just.
Well, now we open at 6:30 so that they can park their car, walk across the street or whatever, have an ice cream cone, have a dinner, and then come back for the movie. We do these cool previews that we start at 8 o'clock. Chris Walsh, local videographer, great guy. We do people's commercials, so if people want to advertise. And then we put the old, let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, or I'd like to buy the World of Coke in Perfect Harmony, or remember the Indian with the tear who was upset about the rivers. So we play like some of the old commercials, and that goes for about an hour, and then the movie starts at 9. It's good. It's fun.
One of these days I'll actually probably come down.
Well, yeah. Yeah, no, it'd be good. You should come.
What else? So let's talk a little bit about Springfest.
Springfest,
it's coming up.
It is
coming up in May.
Well, that was, the way that kind of started, it kind of was 2 things that morphed together. So I started the Misquamicut Music Festival in 2005, and our first guy was Davy Jones from the Monkees. And we had this huge concert in July with 10,000 people, and it cost a lot of money, and it was fun. But after a few years, the business owners were saying, well, Caswell, it's great, but everyone's already here in July. So then George Tattersall again, our president at the time, and Charles Treffis, who runs the Windjammer, who's our current president, said, well, let's sort of take that, and then let's add the amusements and the Ferris wheel and the vendors, and let's do it in the shoulder season, because everyone's always complaining that the season's so short. So we do Springfest 2 weeks before Memorial Day, Fallfest 2 weeks after Labor Day, and we're filling hotel rooms, which is the key.
Right.
And then they eat, and then they stay, and they tax money, and they, you know, whatever. So to get a place like the Pleasant View to open a week early is cool. It's good for jobs. It's good for everybody. Good for everybody. So we started doing that, and this year will be the 7th year we've done it, which is amazing. So we started in 2010, and we do 2 a year, so this will actually be our 13th and 14th festival. And then we bring in, you know, I get to bring in the big music people.
Right. This year it's
Christopher Cross, Sailing, Ride Like the Wind. He has a lot of hits. He actually is 5-time Grammy Award winner. Won an Oscar for the Dudley Moore, Liza Minnelli film Arthur, with When You Get Caught Between the Moon and New York City. And then he got a Golden Globe for Think of Laura from General Hospital. So he had a lot of hits in the early to mid 80s, and there he is. He's coming to play at Misquamicut. So it's cool for me to bring these guys, you know, especially from my childhood, to bring them to play at the beach. And we had 10,000 Maniacs last year, Pure Prairie League, who did Amy, What You Gonna Do? So we bring cool people, and they go, wow, you know, that's nice.
I came down one time. I saw Al Stewart. I loved, because he was one of my all-time favorites.
The Year of the Cat, Time Passages, On the Border.
It was so neat to see him live.
Yeah, we did that for the Town series, Tunes on the Dunes, which I'm one of the board members. Committee members of that, but we got some good bands coming on Mondays and Wednesdays this year.
So if somebody wanted to get involved with the Misquamicut Business Association and didn't own a business down there, how can they get involved? What can they do to help you continue to promote the community?
Well, anybody can join the association, any business person or a person that rents a cottage out for a living even.
Okay.
So if you live anywhere in town, if you're a real estate agent, if you're a supplier like Coke or Pepsi, if you own, you know, like people like Dunn's Corners Market that obviously they benefit from the summer, but they're not physically at the beach. All those places can join the association, different levels of membership. So anyone that sees an increase in their business because of the summer and because of the draw of the beach, we ask they join us to support. And then of course we refer, because we have 90-something thousand followers on Facebook as of now, which is the biggest of any destination in the state, more than Newport, more than the state of Rhode Island, more than Providence. We have more followers on social media. But if you want to help, like we have a lot of job opportunities. We hire people for Spring and Fall Fest for the 3 days, for ticket takers, you know, to work the booth, whatever, and these jobs pay, and so we're always looking for people to work the festivals. I'm always looking for people to volunteer or work the drive-ins, which are once or twice a week, depending on what month it is. So there's lots of things people can do. They can volunteer to help at any of those things. Classic Car Show, the Magic Show. There's always lots of stuff. So people need community service hours. They can go out with our road crew. They want to get out there and, you know, sweep some sidewalks, pick up some trash.
How would they get in touch? What's the best way to?
Misquamicut.org, you know, or go through Misquamicut Beach Facebook page.
That's
you know,
the best way.
Yeah.
Send a message through there.
Yeah, just instant message us or something, or send an email to misquamicut2000@gmail.com.
2000 being the year that you guys
were founded.
were founded and got started and started making a huge difference. What else do you want to tell us about Misquamicut and the association?
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that we try to get the word out about. One is our audience seems to come like down the Route 2 corridor from Springfield, Hartford, down through Willimantic, past the casinos, Norwich to us. Okay. Or they come up 95, you know, New Haven, whatever, because Connecticut's beaches don't have any waves.
Right. They're not really beaches.
Right. They're on the Sound. But Rhode Islanders have this different impression of us. I talked to a guy yesterday from Narragansett. He goes, geez, I haven't been to, you know, Westerly in 20 years. I'm like, geez, it's like 2 feet up the street. So Rhode Islanders, our next goal is to actually tell Rhode Islanders that this beach is actually, first of all, it's in Rhode Island. Westerly's part of Rhode Island.
Yeah, we are.
Just in case people didn't know that. And so if you look at who comes to the state beach, whatever, it's all out-of-state plates, which is great for Rhode Island because we get the money, you know, from the state beach parking. The state does, the town gets some.
That cash coming into town.
A lot of cash coming in from out of state. But we definitely, that's one of the things we want to do is work on getting Rhode Islanders to come to their beach, or people like that actually live in the town of Westerly that a lot of times we'll hear them say, yeah, we'll see you after Labor Day. Well, it doesn't have to be that way because there's so many cool things to do. There's the, Tunes on the Dunes concert series. There's all the stuff that happens during the summertime, and and Spring and Fall Fest, So come down. The drive-in, I'd say the drive-in is like 50-50, local versus, tourist or whatever. So
And I know you do fireworks.
we do fireworks on 4th of July because people, they want those fireworks.
Are there other times during the summer?
We have over the years, done different things depending on what kind of sponsors we can get. Everything costs money, so I'm selling ads in magazines and on maps. I'm getting sponsors for festivals. Oh yeah, there's the whole.
I think this year
the whole ad
2,000
package.
Advertising opportunities for the drive-in, for the fireworks, the car show.
It's what makes it work. I mean, and we keep stuff cheap. I mean, you think about it, the drive-in, you get your logo or your commercial. If you're good on with iMovie or something, you can make a commercial. But you get your commercial played twice before all 32 movies from May until October for $500.
That's pretty good.
That's a really cheap deal. We've kept that the same since we started it. So there's a lot of cool advertising opportunities. You can be in our tourist booth for $100 for the season. You know what I mean? So like we're not trying to, we're not making money off it, but we're trying to keep the stuff going because the more money we can generate, the more days I can afford to have my guys out there picking up the trash.
Right, which is what
which
makes
is a
difference.
daily job.
Yeah. So if you're driving down Atlantic Avenue, please don't throw your cigarette butts or your cups or your containers or your wrappers out the window. Carry them and put them in a trash can.
Right, which we now have up and down the street.
Right.
But see, one of the things, like for instance, the State Beach, they have this take in, take out your own policy, and that's terrible.
Yeah,
and we've told them 100 times, we're like, guys, it doesn't work. And they hand them a plastic bag when they come in, and then my guys pick the plastic bag up across the street. So we're working, hopefully, states, not to diss the state, but we're working to try to get some trash cans on the beach. It shouldn't be like rocket science to do it, so hopefully it happens. But it's hard when you have 3,000 cars parking at the State Beach. It's the big thing right in the middle of the business district. And whatever they do has ripple effects to the businesses. So if they double their parking rate, which they did a few years ago, it actually worked out for the business owners because we were cheaper. Then they just cut the rate in half without talking to anybody, and now they've undercut all the business owners, and we have to adjust. If they decide that they're closing on Labor Day and the next weekend's 90 degrees, well, every other parking lot in Misquamicut out of business. So we try to work with them, and they're very helpful with us, the DEM, with letting us have our festivals and letting us have our magazines distributed at the State Beach, things like that. But then there's other ways where it's tough because it's government. And it's probably the only state beach that's in the middle of a business district. And what I just don't like is when it's a one-size-fits-all approach, because Misquamicut's definitely unique, you know, in who's coming to that state beach versus Rhode Islanders. It's out of state. And when you make a decision, you affect 40 other businesses on the strip.
How many members does the association have?
About 180. So there's about 50 businesses at the beach, somewhere around there, 50. And all but like 2 or 3 are members.
Okay.
You know, there's always a couple that love to watch the guy go by picking up the trash and love all the traffic coming for Springfest. But when you go to ask them to pay a few $100s for dues, they choke. So you know who you are. No, but for the most part, and honestly, for the most part, we have probably 90-something% participation from the businesses at the beach, and that's what makes it work. And the board of directors, you know, the president, Charles Trefus, and our vice president, Tim Brennan from Two Little Fish. And we have the involvement of, you know, people from the Pleasant View and the Andrea and Purple Ape and, you know, the, you know, some of the key places at the beach that are, you know, part of our board.
Just like from my own perspective, I like to kayak, but there's no place really for the public to launch a kayak.
Not yet.
Is that something you guys are working on?
We are, yeah. Going back again to George Tattersall, if you're driving down the beach, so everyone watching this is familiar with Misquamicut, all the cottages and the hotels are kind of at the west end of the beach. And all the amusements are at the east end of the beach. And the state beach is like right in the middle, and it's about a half a mile long. So people wander down and they go on the rides, they have their ice cream, and then it gets dark and they go to walk back. and there's no sidewalks, and there's like 3 street lights. So George's idea was to have an eco trail, sidewalks, bike path, well lit, that would connect both sides of the beach and also offer maybe a vantage point to view the stuff in the pond, like a tower, you know, something, you know, all built like natural.
Right.
And so that's something that that we're working on to really open that area up and to connect both ends of the beach and to you know, get commerce moving back and forth between those two. And I forgot your original question, but I was trying to answer it, and I ended up going into the whole pond thing. But
Well, that's just, that
Yeah.
sort of answers, because I want to know, are you going to put a kayak launch in there?
right. Oh, so the kayak launch, as I bloviate. Yes, right in the middle of all that, there's an area for a kayak launch that we could put. And there's also one that a lot of people don't know about, but it's right next to the drive-in screen. If you park at the Whiskey Now Beach where the tourist center is, you can launch your kayak right out the back through there.
I'm going to have to check it out,
Yeah.
because that is one of the things. We go to Ninigret a lot because of that.
Yeah, so there's that. So we would hopefully have that. So I don't know how long that's going to take for this plan. We've been working on it. There's been a survey, the town planner. We had a new turnover in town planners, so it's kind of on hold, but it hopefully will get done. Everything that takes time.
Maybe we can get some of the service organizations to kick in some volunteer labor where needed.
Yeah.
That can make it go without having to raise as much money.
Yeah, well, you know, putting down some kind of a pavement, I don't know what it would be for the bike path, is going to be one of the expenses, half a mile.
Yeah.
You know, and then the solar lights. But yeah, if, you know, companies wanted to help, they certainly could get involved. We're still in the planning phase, though, but we hope Misquamicut Eco Trail will take off.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Be good.
So, Caswell, you know that this is a show for me about real estate. That's
Mhm.
what I do. You're actually a past client of mine, as is your business partner. I've heard every horror story out there for real estate. So I love to hear fun stories about real estate. I'm wondering if you have one you could tell us.
A fun story about real estate. Boy, I can answer any question, but I don't know if I have fun stories about. I don't know if I have any
funny
story.
or interesting, something that just.
Well, you know, there's. Well, I'd be divulging too much if I brought in names. I don't have a fun story
No?
about real estate. Just to protect the innocent, I don't.
Well, that sounds like fun. Caswell, thank you so much.
All
This
right.
was a pleasure.
Well,
I learned a lot,
uh-oh.
and I've been a member of the association in the past, and I've been involved here in the community. But hopefully you've learned a little bit. If you'd like more information, please stick around another couple of seconds. I'm going to post all the contact information for the association. And if you can come out and be involved and you can support the association, it's good for everybody here in the community. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.